Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 74 of Powerbombshells. I am Sam. That is Mel. We are not your typical broads talking about your typical wrestling. Sorry, a few minutes late. We were both having technical difficulties. My camera was giving me issues, and right when I got that solved, Mel's computer was giving her issues.
Well, listen, I am living in the part of the country that is experiencing wild weather. So we had the same wild weather that went on this weekend in Calgary and so
Right.
forth. It literally flooded over at the brewery on
Oh,
they got some
no.
flooding on Friday because we had hail. It was madness. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it stormed
We were gonna
over here,
walk
but
out.
nothing
We were
like
about
that.
to walk out the door, and it just all of a sudden, like Midwestern weather does, it just out of nowhere, it was hailing, and it
Oh,
was
my
like,
God.
"Uh-oh, are we gonna have a tornado? We gotta go to the basement now?" I'm like,
That's never good.
"Man." So we lost power. The brewery still, hey, Brad.
Hey.
Hey, Broads. Hey, Brad. So our power went out, but the brewery still had power. So we went over and
Gosh.
hung out with them.
Well, that's good. Hey, that works out well.
So I think that it messed up. I think the weather messed everything up.
Yeah, we were
It's
confused
too
because we were
hot.
like,
It's too
"Oh my god, it's been
stormy.
ridiculous." It was like it's Friday was 94 degrees here.
I think it
And
melted your camera, and your
yeah,
camera had
that
to
must
like
have been
come
why
back
my
up.
camera wouldn't turn on. It was probably the heat from that. Cuz
'Cause
and it was really hot yesterday and then it stormed really bad for well, it thundered. I think it was more loud than anything. Like it rained, but it thundered really loud for a little bit and then like stopped. So it's like
man, I
and then we
can't.
were
The weather here is madness. I grew up in the Northeast, and it gets wild up there,
yeah.
but nothing. I've never seen weather like this.
I'm sure.
This is the wildest part. The Great Lakes make their own weather system and do whatever they want. And now there's wildfires. It's awesome. Canada's on fire. We're on fire. This has been weather and madness minute with Mel and Sam.
Every week we have to change it up and have kind of some kind of a segment. So
You know, I mean,
this one,
people
well,
need
and then
these
it works
things.
out because like we were having technical difficulties. Battle of the Belts had technical
That's
difficulties.
why it was
Uh,
cracking me up because I read this morning that as part of that show that they had the same kind of weather, and I was
yeah,
like,
it was random because
yep.
like Collision had no issues whatsoever. First match, no problems. I was timing the women's match like 6 minutes in. It started like the screen. It started getting a little fuzzy, and then the screen like went out, and then we were like, so I was like, do I stop the do I stop the timer? Because I was like, or is it gonna pop back on? And then they
Mm-hmm.
cut to commercial, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop it because I don't know what's happening. And then they came back, and like they went to commercials. Then they showed like 5 seconds of Collision last week where it was Julia Hart versus Bambi Hall, and then it cut back to Ian and Nigel, and Ian was like, and that's when he said he was like, "Sorry, we're having really severe weather. It messed with the broadcast. Tony Storm did win the match, and now let's go back." And then they like cut to Martha Hart. So
You know what? I feel their pain. I really do. And they also put it on so it's in its completion, which is good for me because I forgot to set my DVR anyway. It's in its completion on the TNT app. So
I just saw. Oh, good. I did.
okay,
Well,
so
good. Now I can
Brad's
get
got
Brad. I saw that and was waiting for Mel to finish because I went to get rid. Fight Game Media had tweeted that we were live, and I was about to retweet it, and I just saw that. So if you're listening on audio, Ian Riccaboni has been signed to a multi-year deal with AEW, and he got really great reviews last night among fans for Collision, and backstage and among fans for Collision. He's actually approached about working Collision full time before recommending Kevin Kelly. So, and I had heard yesterday that they had thought about it, and Ian was so good last night, and of course, and we're all huge Kevin Kelly fans here. That's then I think most of our viewers are too, but I love Ian and Caprice, and they're so good together. And I was surprised last night because Ian did the Willow rap And it was great.
Awesome.
And I expected Nigel. I was just waiting for Nigel to
just lose
the
it.
rip, and he didn't. He said, "Ian, I have missed you," and I was like, "Oh my god,
that's so heartwarming! I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's so cool because like Kevin Kelly worked with him and he did Strong with him and stuff. And I mean, I know Ian was already great, but the two of them were so like,
yeah.
I always liked when Kevin Kelly wasn't doing the broadcast, even in the Plague era. Ian was always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. And he is always. I love like the references that he. And I was like, you can definitely tell that he like is from a lot of the era that we grew up because he makes references to shows we watched and things like that. And then I think he and Nigel have started to mesh really well together, but he and Caprice have something so special. And I hope, even though he's signed, and I'm so happy for him, but I hope he and Caprice continue to do ROH because I love those two together. Mm-hmm. They're so much fun and they work really well together. So, but I'm so happy for Ian. Seems like he's a
great addition to
that.
Yeah. As an AEW fan, that makes me so happy to have him on their broadcast team. Like I am a pleased AEW ROH fan because I'm excited to listen now because I heard a lot of people were raving about him. I was like they were raving about the show on social media a little bit, but then people were like, "Ian Riccaboni's so good." I'm like, well, we all knew that though.
Yeah.
I'm like, but obviously he's getting
welcome to what we've known for the last few years.
I guess the man's getting some flowers tonight. So good.
Yeah, he is. He got a ton. I saw so many
confetti,
people.
I guess.
And like when they showed, like somebody told him to send a tweet to me before, so I knew that Ian was gonna be on the broadcast with him. They showed him, and then like my timeline would just lit up with people talking about. They're like, "Oh my god, Ian's on!" And then they were listening. They're like, "Ian's so good." They're like, "I really enjoy this." Brad says, according to the report, he didn't want to do Collision full time, so he suggested Kevin Kelly to Tony to the show instead. Man, Ian, he's just the best.
And Kevin Kelly was like, Ian Riccaboni is my choice for.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
What a lot. You know what? That is awesome. That's collaboration. Yeah. That's two really smart broadcasters who really love what they do. They're giant wrestling nerds. They are giant nerds.
Yes.
Because Kevin Kelly is a nerd. You forget, and then he'll drop like a video game reference or something. And I'm like, dude. And then when him and Zack Sabre have their interactions about like music and punk rock and stuff.
Right.
It's like those are some of the greatest moments on New Japan. Yeah. So,
and Kevin's really good about bringing stuff out of like, especially when he has wrestlers on commentary with him. He's so good about bringing out this other side of them. He's very good at what he does. And so, and because we
wouldn't have Excalibur.
Right. Yeah.
Because he really helped groom Excalibur into what we have on our like AEW every week.
Yes. And speaking of Excalibur, I saw that it's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday. 313. He's from the D, so represent. He's from right here in the
nice
Detroit metro area.
So. Very cool.
He was one day, it was cracking me up because we were sitting there watching an interview with him for some reason, and he was literally wearing a shirt from a tournament that Bob had been in, a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And he was like, "What? Why is?" And then we were like, "Oh, he's from here. That's why."
That's so great.
So fun. It was such a weird moment though, because you're like, why is there a Gus Macker t-shirt on that guy? It's like, what? It's such a weird thing.
That's great.
Easter egg. Well, happy birthday, Excalibur, and congratulations, Ian Riccaboni.
I'm so excited for him.
That's
great news.
I love it.
That's great. Yeah, I was wondering last night because somebody was like, I'm worried about him because he's just like, his throat's going to give out because he's just going so hard. And I'm like, this is what Ian does too. And I was like, I'm assuming he's still called ROH before and after those shows. I assume.
I would imagine.
So I was like, this man's been working. He earned his paycheck yesterday because he did a lot yesterday.
That's tough, man. And you're in those like big buildings with the AC and it's all dry in there. Oh dear.
I saw him tweeting that it was really hard for him to not let people know that he was in Calgary last night. And he posted this picture and he was like outside of a McDonald's. I guess it was a McDonald's, but there was like a drawing of somebody drew a picture of Grimace on the outside and he was posing with it. And he said it was really hard for him not to post it because he knew that if he did, people would realize where he was. So he said, I've been waiting to post this. He's like, you don't know how hard it was not to post this. It was great.
That's awesome. I really like Collision. I'm enjoying Collision.
Collision has been, I really like the openings, like how they have like the wrestlers who are going to be competing, like they have them. I like the pacing of it. I just like it. Those 2 hours fly by every single week.
Yeah, and the vibe is really kind of fun. It's got like an old school, like an OG vibe to it.
Yeah.
Some of the wrestlers are really leaning into it where they look like someone plucked them right out of an 80s and dropped them right in the middle. Like Brian Cage the other night. I swear to God, I was like, did someone get in a time machine and take him out of the 80s? He looked like... Or Miro right now, who is like that classic. He's very... I'm loving Collision Miro.
Yeah,
I love him.
Even and Andrade too is like really playing into it. Like I really like the stuff they're doing with him. Like and then they have last night they hinted at, well, it was during Battle of the Belts, but they Scorpio Sky was watching the TNT title match backstage because obviously he's a former TNT champion. I believe, if I remember correctly, he is the one title change there's been 7 Battle of the Belts. There's been one single title change.
So there weren't any title changes on this one then?
No, which is what I knew that there would.
I knew you did. I wanted to follow through on the prediction. I didn't get a chance to check that one. I was like,
as soon as I saw all 3 matches, I was like, yeah, that's gonna be another Battle of the Belt with no title changes. And like, I understand, like, they're doing the show because they're contractually obligated to. That's what they have to do. But I'm like, they have made it where it is the fans don't really care. I mean, they give them no reason to care about it. We know titles are not going to change hands, so it's missable TV. And then you're having it on a Saturday night. I mean, yes, it's with Collision, but I mean, you're giving no people, unless they're fans of those wrestlers, like, then there's no incentive to watch it. They didn't really move any storylines forward either. I mean, they did a little bit with Lance Archer because he's definitely come back and he's like a little bit like New Japan Lance Archer, where he's
good. That's the Lance Archer.
I feel like that's kind of where they're going with him. And so like his match with Orange was really great, but like I was like, there's no way Orange Cassidy is dropping this title now. I think at this point, I think he's going to hold it through at least All In. Is my guess.
Probably.
I feel like it is
over, and everyone loves him everywhere, and he's been doing such good matches.
Yeah, and he finds like a new way to win with his messed up hand all the time. Like, that's the thing. But Lance was great. I love that Jake Roberts is back. I'm so happy that he's back on TV. He's great with Lance. The women's match was going pretty well until it got cut.
Right.
We knew, I mean, obviously it was obvious that Tony was going to retain, but Taya definitely just like went at her full force for what we saw. And then the main event, I actually kind of wasn't paying as much attention to. That was Luchasaurus versus Sean Spears, because I was also watching the main event of Slammiversary, which was Alex Shelley.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember. Shelley. I was like, I know there's something else going on. I was like, there's a G1, there's a buttload of AEW.
Yes.
And then I was like, what is the other thing? I couldn't think it. That's what it is. Thank you.
And so I was watching. So that Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis was happening at the same time. And I was paying attention to that because I was like, if this is Alex Shelley's last match as champion, like, I want to be able to pay attention. And so I was focusing on it. Alex Shelley on Slam, which I have Slammiversary as things to talk about, but we might as well just, I'll at least get into this. On Slammiversary last night, every single title changed hands except for the Impact World title. But it's
so they had like a real Battle of the Belts.
Yes, they did have a real Battle of the Belts. Literally, even on because the pre-show had the digital media, which I didn't get a chance to see the pre-show yet, but it was the digital media championship between Joe Hendry and Kenny King won. So it started on the pre-show all the way through. The only title that did not change hands was the Impact World title, but it's because Josh Alexander came back. Like Alex Shelley beat Nick Aldis clean, and then I kept waiting. I was like, something is gonna happen. I was like, somebody's coming to challenge him, and Nikki was like, because Chris Sabin lost his title last night. Ooh. And I'll get to why I'm not happy. Not just because he lost. I'll get to
why I'm not happy
about
like,
that. But Nikki said, what if Chris Sabin comes to challenge Alex Shelley? I was like, I would lose my mind if that's what happened. But and then all of a sudden, Nikki was looking at the TV with Battle of the Belts. And I was like, look at the TV. Or I was like, look. And she thought I meant at Scorpio. I was like, no. Josh Alexander, like his name popped up. And I was gassed because I was like, wait, I didn't think he was supposed to be back early. And he just came down. He got in the ring, stood face to face with Alex Shelley. And he backed up and he said, I'm back. And it just cut off. So
awesome. I'm glad he's healed up. That's good.
Yeah, I didn't think he was coming back so soon. I was like, that's why Alex retained. They're going to have Josh get his title back.
That's good.
That's probably what's happening there. Let me go over here to the comments real quick. So Brad said, I kind of want to see Brody and Malachi as a tag team instead of being a trio. So they're such a great tag team. They are a really good tag team. And Buddy is really great too, but Buddy's really good singles wrestler, which obviously, especially those of us who watched the 205 live years, we definitely saw how good he is as a singles wrestler.
And then Strong, and he just was awesome on Strong all the time. Yes. Every time he would have these matches that had no right. It's like, this is like this is the kids. These are the kids they're coming up. I'm like, this is amazing.
Right. Yeah. And so Brad said not Tony or AEW's fault, but of course that happened during the women's match when the power cut. Yeah,
of course.
Exactly. And it was
No,
I was like, on the one hand, I was like, that's what Nikki and I were talking about. I was like, I guess on the one hand, it's a good thing that it didn't happen during, because I was like, I'm glad it didn't happen during the Owen matches, but I was like, what if it had happened during that amazing tag match? And because that match went 58 minutes, and I was like, if the power cut at 55 minutes, I was like, everybody would have lost their minds.
Oh my gosh, you would have heard a collective scream from wrestling fans across the country. Like, what was that noise? Oh, it was all the wrestling fans. It was Calgary having random weather, just killing everything.
It was just, I think it was because it was so unexpected, because literally the whole broadcast, there were no issues. The video came through
it sounded
no issues
sudden.
With audio, it just seemed and so I think that's another reason why, because there were no issues, at least on my end, of things messing up here and there, oh, that's weird. No, it played perfectly. So I think that's why it was even more of a surprise, is because everything had been going perfectly, and then all of a sudden it just went black, and we were like, and then
they lost satellite feed apparently.
They went straight to commercial, no picture-in-picture, and we were just and every in my timeline is did it go out for everybody else, or is it just me? But yeah, I'm glad that they put the women's match back up then you said it was on the app, the TBS app?
On the TNT app. The whole Battle of the Belts in its entirety with the women's match is on the app available.
Well, now I can go back
right
and time
now.
Now I can go back and time the women's match.
So that's good. And that's usually with Battle of the Belts and stuff like that, with those special shows like that, they usually only put them on the app. They don't you can't go searching for them on your TV, your DVR or whatever.
Yeah,
but that's fine because I just cast it right to my TV. And
there you go. That works. Well, then I'll definitely have to check that out. And I guess we will. There are some other things on our list, but we'll just stick with the Slammiversary stuff.
Totally.
I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on that.
We're already talking about it, so we may as well talk about
it. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch some of the beginning, because the opening match of Slammiversary was the Ultimate X match, which I love those matches, and it was for the #1 contender for the X Division Championship. And so that match had Speedball, Jonathan Gresham, Alan Angels, Kushida, Jake something returned last night. Wow. He's back with the company. And I feel like I want to say there was one other talent, and I was like, I can't watch this and the tag match that's happening at the same time. I was like, I want to be able to watch both. And Nikki was like, let's just go back and we'll rewatch that. And I was like, well, I'm just going to let it play. And it was funny. Slammiversary got through 3 matches before the tag team match ended. Like Slammiversary was already at their 3rd match. We were like, what is happening? So like they have new so Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly are the new Knockouts tag team champions. Eric Young returned last night. He was murdered last year by Cody Deaner.
He went. Apparently, the comment I saw this morning was that he didn't want to work for
That's what I was gonna say.
Rapist.
Yes. So props to Eric Young for being like, I'm not working for this dude, and they let him out. Granted, had he been a bigger star, or a star going to AEW, maybe it wouldn't have been so easy. But whatever reason they let him go without fuss, I'm glad that they let him go and didn't make him work. Because they said, like, as far as they know, he is the first person who has asked for his release is specifically because of it. So they were like, we don't know if there have been others. This is just the one that we know of for sure. But yeah, so he returned last night. He returned from the I guess he went to the Undead Realm and came back. That's how he came back last night.
Well, I mean, Adam Cole's back, so
this is
he
true.
Came back. He was murdered. So
yeah, he was murdered for a long time.
He doesn't remember. That's still an out. That's like a outstanding potential storyline thread that could be just picked up on at some point.
This is true.
Because they had a whole BTE portion. There was a whole stretch of BTEs where he was starting to figure out that they had murdered him, but he couldn't remember. And they kept giving him energy drinks to make him forget.
Yes. They did. These are all true things. If you have not watched Being the Elite, these are all true things that have happened.
I love Being the Elite. I love it. I don't watch it all the time, but when I am into it, I always enjoy it. Because
on Mondays during my lunch break, that's what we watch. We watch Being the Elite every week.
I mean,
and then if there's some reason we can't get to it on Monday, then we watch it as soon as we can the next day.
I forget to watch it, but I have a friend in our wrestling chat that always remembers to watch it. So when he's like, you guys got to catch up. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's when I kind of go back because I'm like, okay, no problem. And they're such easy watches.
Yeah. They are.
I remember
when it's not very often that they're 27 minutes. Every once in a while they are when they've got a lot of going on, but sometimes they're some episodes are 13 minutes and some episodes are 20. It just depends, but yeah, they're really easy watches.
They're perfect lunch matches.
Yes, they are.
Or watches.
But so back to Slammiversary. So one of the things that happened last night, so this was actually a match I'd really been looking forward to, was Chris Sabin versus Lio Rush, because Lio is back. He just showed up 2 weeks ago to Impact. He appeared to be aligned with Nick Aldis. I don't know that he's necessarily doing anything with Nick Aldis. I think he was just like, hey, you want Alex Shelley's title, I want Chris Sabin's title, let's go beat them up together kind of thing. And so Lio comes out first. Chris Sabin is about to climb onto the to get into the ring, and Lio just runs at him and knocks him down. And he's so then he goes after him again, and Sabin hit his head on the ramp because Lio just hit him full force. And so he just keeps, so they get in the ring, he keeps just beating the crap out of him. And I'm also still watching, Collision at this point. And so I looked back and I heard the bell ring and I was like, wait a minute. And then I was and then Lio won. And I was like, they really just squashed Chris Sabin. Oh, it was during the women's match. So I was timing it and I couldn't. And so I was obviously paying attention to Willow and Ruby. And so I was like, what the hell happened? And so I was like, why do they do Chris Sabin dirty like that? How are you going to I was like, so are they trying to establish Lio being this powerful person when he came back? I was like, or is he hurt? Did he get hurt? Did Lio accidentally hurt him? Was he already injured? And they're we'll just write this into the match type of thing. And so I never did hear. I just know a lot of people were upset about it. They were like, why the hell did they do Chris Sabin like that? Why? Nobody was mad that Lio won. They were like, but why did that happen to Chris Sabin? And then, but Brad has said this too, and I have heard this as well, that that he heard that he said, gonna wait to hear confirmation, but I saw someone suggest that Sabin may have been rocked from a move at the start of the match, and they called an audible on the title change. Especially, and I saw this argument as well. Leo was the only one who did not get a new champion graphic, because like literally as soon as the match would end, Impact would post it like within seconds of the match, and Leo did not get one. So
they were probably making it or potentially making it.
Yeah, so it sounds like
prepped.
So. Yeah, so it sounds like they called an audible potentially. Again, like I have no issues with, and I really I wanted that. So assuming that that Chris Sabin was not injured, I was just mad that they squashed, and I really wanted that match because I was like, that's going to be a phenomenal match. But I did wonder if Sabin was either already hurt going into the match, so they just did that, but then not having the graphic ready makes me think that maybe he did get rocked a little bit on that when his head hit the ramp. They cut to the back right after, and Gia was talking to Alex Shelley, and she told him, she was like, Chris Sabin just lost. So like, I don't think he knew what was happening either. And so, yeah, I hope
he's not hurt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hopefully.
I mean, I don't want them to have done a kind of shitty thing to him, right, considering how committed and awesome he is, for the company's situation. Right. But I mean, he would either do that for a good reason, because obviously he's a veteran, and so if it was or which sounds more likely is that maybe he got hurt, but we can't. I mean, we don't know, so we'll have to find out.
So hopefully hopefully if he is injured, hopefully it's nothing too serious and that he will be okay. Hopefully it's not.
We could ask Mike Gilbert, because he did a special bonus episode.
Mike Gilbert, I saw him tweeting. He was pissed. He was, and he said at the end of the show that the pay-per-view was good, but the Sabin stuff made the show have go away heat. Like he was really pissed off about it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm interested to see it now. I really
on the show, but I saw his tweets and he was pissed. But
that's
then
awesome.
If it turns out Sabin was injured, then I'm sure maybe he will feel slightly different about it. But I think if it was storyline reason, then and if it had been storyline reason, I would have been pissed too, because I'm like, you don't that match
not like
everybody
that,
was looking for. Yeah,
not like that though. It doesn't even like that. If it's storyline, great, but not like not like that.
Right. Yeah,
that's horrible.
And so I hope Chris is okay. And I am looking forward to Leo's title reign. I think Leo, I've been a Leo Rush fan for a very long time. I saw him actually at ROH stuff, when ROH used to have that thing where they would feature like top prospects or whatever. Nikki and I were at a taping for ROH, and that was the first. I think that was the first time we saw Leo Rush.
He wrestled in Evolve. I think I saw him like 3 times.
Yeah, it was pre WWE, pre Evolve that he was in this ROH thing, and I remember he really stood out even then. And so Nikki and I have been a fan of his ever since then.
I always loved that when he was he was generally on our cards at Evolve.
Yeah,
so he was great. He was one of the people that you can just kind of hang out with them. It was kind of because they would stand a lot of the wrestlers stand in the back, and you'd just be like, you just realize all of a sudden that there's a whole bunch of them standing with you, and you're like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
Because they're fans too. I mean, a lot of them are. You couldn't be in this business if you weren't a fan of it. It's too nuts. It's too crazy. There's too much weird.
One of the best things that happened last night was this match I did pay attention to. I started to time, but then I was like, well, what if they do the women's match at the same time with Collision? So I was like, I gotta go back and watch. I was like, I already have to go back and rewatch the opening match, so I gotta go back to this match to time it. But Trinity versus Deonna was, I don't know if they were billing it as the co-main event, but it was the penultimate match. It was in a really good spot. The match was Deonna looked great. She had her Charlotte Flair-esque vibes. She had her big jacket. It had the feathers on it, had sequins, had her name on the back, looked really similar to Charlotte. So I'm sure there are people she's ripping off Charlotte Flair. I think it's just a mutual respect type of thing. But I think Deonna is the best women's champion in Impact, and Charlotte is arguably, she's definitely the most decorated woman in WWE. So I think it's a little bit of Like it was a little bit of, maybe it was just a little bit of like, she's the best over there, I'm the best over here type of thing. Like I don't think it was any ill will. Yeah, but
people do this stuff all the time.
They do. This is true.
And I mean, let's be real. Like we wouldn't have a lot of the wrestlers we have if it wasn't for the people that influence them anyway. So,
yeah, exactly. Like, well, yeah, and then some people. Oh, I remember when Charlotte. There's something she came out in, and they were like, she stole Dalton Castle's look, which I mean. Maybe a little bit, but I mean, who?
Well, it's a great look. It's a great look.
So yeah, I was gonna say, who wouldn't steal from Dalton Castle?
It's a stealable look. I mean, if I could pull off Dalton Castle's look, I might steal it once in a while.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool, and I mean, she put her own flair on it. Pardon the pun, but I mean, it was her version of it, and I mean, you know,
it's fine.
There's only so many gimmicks out there, so it's all about how you like It's how you like redefine the thing that
and how you make it your own,
and you make it new and in your way or whatever. That's creativity.
Right. Yeah. And so Trinity, she looked great. She was in her all green and black last night, her neon, and she was glowing, and her hair looked awesome. And so yeah, she looked really solid. She had she made Deanna tap, and no person in Impact has ever made Deanna tap. So that was huge for Trinity to be over. And that just goes back to the conversation we've had since day one of Trinity being an Impact. They treat her like the star that she is. They make her a big deal. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They make her a big deal. Even on the show she's not wrestling on there, she's in segments because they know that her fans are tuning in for her, and they find ways to utilize her even when she's not wrestling. And she just I'm so happy for her. And she, like, of course, immediately just was like in tears as soon as the bell rang and that they handed her the title, and she just it was great. And yesterday I heard that Mercedes was supposed to be there, and I was like, and as soon as I saw that, I said, oh yeah, Trinity's definitely winning. And then I don't know that she was in the crowd, but I heard she was backstage. And then later last night, Bailey tweeted and said, I can't remember exactly now, but it was a reference to Trinity, and so that was really cool to see. And then even they put up her graphic and Speedball quote tweeted, and he said, "Oh shoot!" And I little flame emoji.
I love that guy. He's like not just the wrestling, like the whole. He's like the whole package. He's hilarious. He's like great on Twitter. He doesn't do dorky stuff. He's like good. He's good at social media.
Speaking of his birthday is today as well. I saw
happy birthday. It is a birthday.
It is a birthday. Yeah, I saw Veda tweet about it just after midnight, and then Impact tweeted about it today. So cool. Happy birthday to Speedball.
Happy birthday to all of you having birthdays today in wrestling. We love you all.
Yes, we do.
Well, I mean, all the aforementioned people, because we do love all of them. So
yes, but yeah, so that was a really great match. I'm looking forward to rewatching it back. But Trinity, I can't wait to see what they do with her. And they talked to her backstage afterwards. There was a clip, and she was like, of course, she's talking about how happy she was, and she was like, and now she's like, it's hard. She's like, once you get this thing, she's like, it's hard to keep. So she's like, now the real work begins, and so. I'm really happy for her and can't wait to see what she does. And then, of course, like I said, the main event was Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis, which we talked about. Alex Shelley did retain, which I'm glad to see. And then Josh Alexander is back. Oh, also Multiverse United. So that is, I think, the end of August. But Sonata got announced last night. So Sonata will be.
Right. I did see that this morning.
Yes. So Sonata will be making his long-awaited return to Impact, because he was on excursion and Impact a very long time ago. And so, so he'll be there. I believe Tanahashi's on that card.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah. So Multiverse United's got some good stuff coming up too. So Impact's got some good things coming on. I did wonder last night.
When is that?
I feel like it's August 27th.
It's got to be right. It's got to be after the G1 if Tom is going to be in it. I'm going
to say it's August 27th, or I could be very wrong.
Which would be like a couple weeks after the G1.
Yeah, it's sometime in August.
Because it's right close to because All In is the 25th of August. Is that right?
Yes, because September 3rd is all out. which is interesting that Sonata will be at Multiverse, because then I was like,
I keep getting confused because SummerSlam is here in Detroit and it's on the 5th of August, and I'm like,
oh, that's right, SummerSlam is,
and I'm like, cut it out.
So many dates.
Stop confusing me.
And then Grand Slam is like 2 weeks after All Out. Oh, Brad says, okay. Oh, I think I did see this. Speedball and Tana versus Leo and Trey McGill is the first match announced for Multiverse.
Thank you, Brad.
Yes. And I feel like there was something, and I was like, oh, because they were wondering if maybe not. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. Brad's gonna set us straight. That Sonata will be on Emergence in Toronto, not Multiverse. Thank you for clarifying.
See, I'm glad that Brad is here to help us with these things.
Clearly, what I was watching.
This is why we need his support. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate that. But yeah, so Impact's got some good stuff going on over there. I heard that I think they said Jake something, Eric Young, and I feel like somebody else's name was mentioned that Leah Rush had all signed some sort of deal.
Cool.
Oh, and Subculture, because Subculture won the tag team title. Subculture is Mandrews and Flash Morgan Webster.
Oh wow, he's back around.
Yeah, they've been an Impact for they were there.
Dude, I haven't heard his name in a while.
Yeah, Subculture showed up a couple of months ago, and they've got a woman with her Danny Luna, I believe is her name. They were there for like 5 seconds, and then they just they haven't used them in a while, and then they came back recently, and then they won the titles last night off of ABC. And so Subculture, so I believe they all have, I saw something about how they've all signed some sort of deals, but they hadn't had
I kind of want to watch. I enjoy it. I liked him a lot.
We saw
when Progress came to Detroit in 2018, we went to the show, and he was one of the people that they were just so, there's a lot of fun stuff on there, I guess.
Yeah, I really
that's where I got to see Tony Storm.
He's not doing like the 60s mod character that he's
been
doing.
Of course. I think that he would have to switch it up at this point, but I really enjoyed
the few matches I've seen of Subculture, I've liked them, and I've seen Danny a couple of times, and she's really good. So I'm glad to see them involved. So yeah, there's something about how they've all signed some kind of deals, but they haven't there's not, I guess the details aren't out of how long they're there and but I was like, well, Subculture has titles, so they clearly have plans for them.
Right.
Brad says, I love Subculture. Any tag team that names themselves after one of the best songs from New Order New Order is tops in my book. Yeah, I saw your Twitter exchange with I think it was Flash Morgan Webster, and he responded to Brad because Brad was talking about New Order, and he was like, you get it. So it's very cool.
We are kindred. We are the wrestling people.
Yes. So good stuff for Impact. I guess we'll switch gears and go back to AEW, because a lot happened in AEW last week, and then some of the stuff there's some stuff going on with ROH because their pay-per-view is Friday, and they're still trying to put their pay-per-view together. But first we'll start with Dynamite. So on Dynamite, though, I guess the big story obviously was who the fifth person was going to be for each team for Blood and Guts. I think we all knew that it was going to be Kota Ibushi.
Yeah,
but I was still super excited to see the video package. And that's what Nikki was like, I knew it was going to be him. And she was like, and I'm still really hype. And I was like, because I guess there was the slight chance that maybe something would happen and Kota wouldn't come through. And because you never know with Kota.
Well, yeah,
but I did not have Pac on I did not see him being the Blackpool Combat Club fifth member.
I wouldn't have. Somebody said something at some point, and I was like, "Huh." I had to not forgotten about him, but I was like, he's kind of like faded into the background a little bit, and I was like,
and he's been back in England, so I thought maybe they would do something with him for All In.
All In.
And so I was like, oh, maybe he'll come back like closer to that. Like I didn't expect him to come
now. They're getting ready now, so they're gonna maybe they'll setting him up for more stuff because of All In.
Yeah, and so I thought that what I thought was gonna happen was that I thought it was gonna be Jericho. I thought Jericho was gonna agree.
Yeah, they were kind of I
thought
he was
gonna agree to join the Don Callis family, and Don was like, okay, well, you need to go protect Takeshita during this match. Please go. And Chris has been in all the other Blood and Guts at this point. And so I was just like, oh, it's going to be Jericho. So that's what I was expecting. And then I saw him come running down and I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, that's Pac. And then I hear commentary and they were like, it's Pac. And I was like, okay. So Brad said Pac makes sense, but would have never thought about him if you gave me 100 choices. Yeah, he makes perfect sense because of the story. Like he has beef with just about everybody on the other side of that. And then somebody posted a clip.
And he's just a bastard. So
well, that is true. Like if he doesn't need a
generally, he doesn't need. I mean, he already has beef, but if he didn't, he could come up with some if he needed.
Yeah, they but somebody posted a clip of the very second episode of Dynamite. Pac came running. He came up from behind. Kenny was out there with his little broom when he was doing that gimmick, and he came up and attacked him from behind then on the very second episode. And then they were talking about how back in the press conference for AEW, Pac and Hangman, that's when their thing was going on, their whole storyline was happening. And so I was like, it makes perfect sense. But yeah, I assumed, I was like, oh, because every once in a while I'll be like, oh, I wonder what Pac's up to, because I know he's gone back gone back home. And so I was like, oh, well, they'll probably bring him in, like he'll probably be at All In. They'll probably bring him back like a couple weeks before then, maybe to set up like whatever he's doing at All In. I did not expect him, but yeah, like Brad said, he makes perfect sense. But
it does. When you see it, you're like, oh, duh.
Yes, and
I like that though. I mean, it was unexpected.
I just knew it was going to be Jericho, so I wasn't expecting anybody else. And I was like, oh, here comes Jericho. And then it was not at all. It was completely opposite. And so like, well, and speaking of them, so last night was Triple Mania.
Oh, that's right.
And I couldn't find a stream for it last night, but I saw some clips here and there. And so Kenny versus Vikingo for the AAA Mega Championship was last night. Kenny was the heel in this match. And I've seen clips of it. Vikingo retained. And then I do know that Don Callis was there. Apparently afterwards there was like an interview thing, a segment,
and press conference.
Yeah, and Takeshita attacked Omega on Callis's orders, and then a fan attacked Don, legit attacked Don Callis last night. And I saw the clip of it like a little bit before the show started. And so then people were like, oh, are these the AEW fans that I keep hearing about? And I'm like, you people clearly are not familiar with fans in Mexico.
Seriously.
To a lot of them, because they so there was earlier in the
old
show,
school. This stuff used to happen here in the States too. It just doesn't anymore because it's not the same as because heels would have their Sheik used to have his tires slashed all the time. People tried to stab him, literally stab him a couple times.
Yeah, and so last night there was an ambulance match between Penta and QT, and QT won. And the fans were so mad that they were throwing stuff at QT. And so when I was like,
Mexico.
I was like, I was like, that, I mean, that's what you want. Like, that's the heat. I was like, QT does his job I have my issues with him for other reasons, but he is very good at what he does. He's very good at getting people to hate him.
Oh, yeah.
And so that heat that he got last night off that's what, as long as they're not stabbing him, and we don't want any of that.
Don't do that.
But the throwing the thing, as long as it's things that's not going to hurt him. Like if it's paper and things like that, it's a little different with bottles, things like that. We don't want him to get injured. But I'm like, he did his job. That was. But I saw a clip from that match. They used light tubes in that match.
Wow.
I saw saw like I've got to see if I can't find a way to watch it, because like that match looked insane, and then I heard Vikingo and Kenny was fantastic, so I was like, I definitely want to go see that.
Yeah.
Grace said, "See, everyone hates Don." Yeah, like it's a universal thing. So I enjoy Don very much.
I love how much people hate him. I just love it. I love listening to people boo him. It's like I'm always like laughing. Yeah. I just think it's hilarious because he's great. Don Callis is like the best at being the worst.
He is so he's good very good. Yeah, he's very good at what he does. And he's very good at like it's like Paul Heyman or somebody. Like he's like crazy good at it. Like, but I don't know. I like Don better, but that's just a personal preference. Right. Yeah, the same thing. Brad said QT and Penta had an ambulance match that QT won, and he got bloodied up. Yeah. He did. I saw some pictures. I guess we're glad there's an ambulance. Yeah, they definitely made use of the ambulance, I believe, from what I've seen. Yeah, I saw a destroyer, because it was like a quick clip of like different things that happened, and yeah, there was like a destroyer on top of something, and I think they were on top of, I don't know if it was like, it almost looked like a golf cart, but I don't think that's I don't know what it was. It just, because it flashed really fast, but yeah, it was in. So I mean, they've always got something crazy happening down there. But yeah, so it just made me, we were talking about Don Callis, it made me think of that. But I'm really looking forward to From Blood and Guts. I think it's gonna be really, really good. I think we lost your audio. It's the first time at the Garden, so yeah. Sorry, there were things going on in the background. I'm like, yeah, and I was like, I feel bad because, like, I mean, I know they will. I was like, and I'm sure they're going to deliver, but I was like, Dynamite's going to have all these other matches, and everybody's going to be like, I just want to see Kota Ibushi. They're just going to be like, just bring me Kota. I'm wondering if Kota's going to be on BTE tomorrow, or because they did it through like a video package, so he wasn't technically there yet, if it'll be the following BTE. Yeah. But I can't wait to see or if they're just hinting at it, or like, I'm looking forward to see how they play that, because Kota has been on BTE before. And so it'll be interesting to see. And then, yeah, and I saw, so Kota tweeted that he has been watching AEW, and he's been watching everything that's been happening. And he was like talking about how basically he had to come help, and it's the return of the Golden Elite, and they've released the Golden Elite t-shirts, of course. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. Available immediately at AEWshop.com. Yeah, like they had it. They are not a sponsor. I think they did release it like after the show went off the air. I'm almost positive that I saw it that night and not the following day. Excuse me. I think it was that night. And it says it's a black shirt that says the Elite, and it's in gold. I mean, perfect. Grace said, I want to see him. Me too. Yeah. I'm so excited for, I don't know what he's going to be doing in AEW past Blood and Guts. Yeah. I do think he'll be involved in All In at some point. I'm sure they're going to set up some stuff for him. I don't know how. Kota doesn't seem to want to be like tied down to any one company for an extended period of time. So I was like, I don't know if he goes Blood and Guts and then he disappears until All In, or if he has like a match or two here and there and then he's gone again, or maybe he goes to ROH and like challenges Shibata for the Pure Championship. Like, I mean, he just does whatever he wants to do. So I can see him just being like, okay, well, if I'm coming, then I'm going to wrestle Shibata again, or I want to wrestle. Maybe he wants to wrestle Orange Cassidy. Maybe, like, I can see him doing like a couple of things and then just disappearing again until they need him for All In or something like that. But maybe we get a Golden Lovers match at some point. I really hope we get that. That'd be great. I really just want that. But so I will appreciate Kota for whatever. They were joking because the rules that came out last week about the moves and how there were some questions about basically only a couple of things were banned and then everything else needs approval. But but of course, like immediately all the jokes were, oh, Kota, they were like, Kota's coming. We have to make all these rules of things you can't do because Kota just does all these crazy things. You can't try and kill yourself here. Okay? Right. They're like, no balcony on your neck every 3 seconds.
No balconies, no like bleachers.
Somebody
no.
was like, yeah, but Coda's not under AEW contract, so they can't fire him. He'll just do it anyway.
Right.
But then it made me laugh because some of those rules were directed like right at Bryan Danielson and MJF. Like there was the thing about like you can't do the seizure spot, so that was clearly at Danielson. And then they were like, you can't, and basically you can't interact, like you can't touch the crowd, so you can't knock people's hats off, MJF, or steal a little kid's drink.
Right.
Like, so they were just like, and somebody had a meme. It's that picture of Garfield, and he's looking at it's a picture of Garfield with a no symbol, and they were like, oh, he's like, oh, I wonder who this could be for, and they were saying that was Danielson and MJF. Brad asks if we have watched anything from G1 this weekend, some potential big news coming out from Eddie versus Shingo. I've not watched matches. I do know who won that match, and I know something that Eddie said following the match. And I saw the Hinare spot where he was like dropped on his head.
Great.
Yeah. He did. Some people were saying that they thought that Mikey Nichols' arm like took the brunt of it, but it happened so fast in the clip that I saw that I couldn't tell. It looked really nasty. Also, I saw that Hinare has the face tattoo. It goes from here, for people who are listening and not watching, it goes from like the bridge of his nose out and like down his chin and cheeks. It's the because he's from New Zealand. I can't remember the name. I can't remember what it's called, but I know that certain men in his culture they do that. And he was saying that, and I saw him tweet that it wasn't with his mana, it was from the mana of his ancestors or something. It looks really cool. He shaved his head. He looks awesome. Yeah, he looks really cool. And
I haven't gotten to anything this weekend. I'm not gonna lie. I've been doing we've been volunteering.
Yeah, you've been doing real life things.
we've been out dressing up like Vikings and making little kids happy. So
yes,
and adults and adults too.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So I haven't watched any matches yet, but I've seen some things.
I did see the Eddie Shingo thing about the end of the summer. So
yeah, so Brad says I won't ruin the finish, but in his post-match comments, Eddie told Tony that he wants a rematch against Shingo, all in or all out, to show the strong style versus what King's Road can do. Yeah, I saw that he said all in or all out, and that he wanted time. Mm-hmm. Like which I hope that
I'm fine with that.
I hope he said I'm Tony, I'm gonna put you on the spot. And I was like, tell him, Eddie, you're not an AEW champion, but you got a title. Better listen to the champion.
That's right. He does have a title.
He does, but yeah. So which I will hopefully eventually get around to that show too. But now it's gonna be.
I'll get there. I will.
Now it's gonna be
tomorrow and the next day.
Catching up on G1. And then I guess this is kind of related to New Japan because Willow did have a New Japan title. So last night was the Owen finals. And it was Willow versus Ruby, and then CM Punk versus Ricky Starks. Both of those happened on Collision. We did get to see the matches in full. There was no technical difficulties. But so I knew it was going to happen. I was like, they are going to make the women follow this tag team match, and that's exactly what they did. But Willow and Ruby had a really great match, I thought. She's just the best. But I really like Ruby Soho, and her jacket, like she said, I think her jacket said something like time for a change or something like that. And then I was like, and then they screwed her again. Not screwed her, but like, she came all the way to Britt beat her last year in the Owens. She made it all the way. Britt was the one, Jade defeated her to become the TBS championship. And, she's she has a prominent spot in the Outcast, which I appreciate, but I would like to see Ruby get a title at some point, whether it's the TV. I think she would be, I thought maybe they would have, before the Statlander stuff, I thought maybe they would have Ruby win the TBS championship because Jade beat her to become the inaugural champion. So I was like, oh, well, then maybe Ruby will be number 2. And then obviously that's not what happened. But so I saw some people say that even though they love Willow, they wish Ruby had won last night, which I see both. So like I'm a huge Willow fan, but I really like Ruby, so I would have been fine with either. It kind of goes with, I guess, the Outcast story, the Outcast and OG story. Like the Outcast typically pick up a lot of wins, and so it's, I guess, kind of balances that out. And you have 2 OGs who have won it now because Britt won it last year. Willow won it this year. And so, but I was like, hopefully they'll keep building Ruby up and get her in a spot maybe where she can get something. Because I
think they probably did this because of the whole situation with the belt.
That's what I've been saying.
I mean, to me, my first thought was this is like sort of a makeup to Willow about like.
That was my thing too, was sorry you lost the belt you were never supposed to have. Here's the Owen belt and cup.
It did. I mean, whether they intended it to be like that or not. And I don't care, I guess. I'm not like, it just seems a little bit like, I mean, if you're in on what's going on with things, if you're someone that's watching these shows, usually, like what's happened. So it kind of felt a little like, here's your makeup.
Right. I thought that too. And then also like that's how I really felt with it. It was just kind of like, sorry you did all of these things. But and then I mean, it is really cool that she won, and it would have been cool if Ruby won, but the Owen, they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure what the belt is for. It's like the tournament is great and everything.
Yeah, but they don't. And then they'll occasionally, but like every 3 months, they'll be like, oh yeah, remember when Britt Baker won the Owen? Yeah. They'll like randomly mention it, like as in like, oh, Adam Cole has done all these things and he was the inaugural Owen winner, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, you don't defend the title. I mean, it's just a belt. I mean, I'm not saying it's not like a nice accolade to have, because it is. But
I think they raise money for the foundation and everything by doing the tournament, and that's great. And so that component is always fine.
But it's not like
but it doesn't seem like, it seems very ceremonial.
It is. It's almost like the Dynamite Diamond ring. I mean, granted, MJF does use it as a weapon, but it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't.
I won it like the first season, and I've been using it as a weapon ever since.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for MJF, but like when it's off of it, like when they give it to somebody else in MJF, like what are they gonna do with it? It's just gonna be like a thing, like it's just almost
carried around or wear it. Like, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah, exactly. Daza is here now and says, "Sorry, I'm late. A goat ate my laptop." Well, those damn goats.
That is a great excuse.
Those damn goats. Good.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I believe goats will eat anything. So if you did actually encounter a goat and inadvertently like it it would probably eat his laptop, because goats eat everything. They'll like eat through tin cans. They're crazy.
Yes, this is true.
Goats are awesome. But like we kind of joke about it. It was like if we ever had like a big spot, we'd have goats because we'd have natural lawnmowers and stuff. But you have to watch out, because like you'll just be driving through country roads here and you'll see goats like standing on top of cars sometimes.
Yeah. So we had a dog that used to climb on he would just climb on things, and we would always call him a billy goat, because we were like, he would just stand on top of stuff. I'm like, what are you doing?
Just standing there.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
I conquered this piece of furniture.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to stand here now. So now that Daza has found a way to watch our show, he says that they could turn this into a long-term thing where Ruby is determined to win the Owen. At this point, I would do that, because they've got to do something for her. And so that maybe that's her. I mean, hopefully it doesn't turn into like a Susan Lucci type of deal, and that is a very dated reference, but hopefully it doesn't turn into where she does this 21 times before she finally wins.
Thank you for that, though.
You're welcome.
I don't care how dated it is.
It's just always what I think of when I think of somebody who's nominated a bunch of times and lose, and then tries to win something multiple times and comes up short. That's what I associate.
No, it's such a great. I just hadn't thought about it in such a long time. I love it. Perfect. I love when like the old school stuff gets brought back around to my consciousness.
You're welcome.
Like, I enjoy my trips in the Wayback Machine, all right? I love it.
I think it's probably also the reason I've been thinking about it is because on General Hospital, they had 2 characters went to Pine Valley to see Jackson Montgomery, who was obviously at one point his character was married to Susan Lucci. So I guess that's probably why or Erica Kane rather. And so I think maybe that's why I'd been thinking about it. So it was just, they're like, oh yeah, remember we've been watching this.
That she never could win a daytime Emmy.
And then finally on her 21st try, she finally did.
I win. I finally did it.
Finally.
Like, stop nominating her for Grace.
Yeah, really.
I'm sorry. It's an honor to be nominated. I forgot.
It is. Yeah. So. It's an honor to be nominated and lose 21
times. I feel honored.
I feel so honored that you won't give it to me. Yeah. And then the year I finally win it was like probably a year that maybe I shouldn't have won it compared to some of the other years.
Yes. Yep. Fair. Just very, very true. It's just so funny. That's great.
So we'll bring it back to the goat, but not goat, but another goat. Grace said that goats will eat anything. They will. They have like still trapped stomachs.
Yeah, they're crazy. I love it. But we used to have out in Seattle, they have the people that do where they bring the goats around to mow the lawn basically for everybody. Yeah. And then
it makes sense to me.
Kind of cool. They were doing it like on the sides of the freeways out there at some point. So you would drive by and there'd be like little herds of goats there. It's just like, that's kind of fun.
Listen, it's nature, circle of life. Let them. They're just out there.
That's what they do anyway.
That's what they're just doing natural lawn care.
And there's no like carbon emissions that aren't like already like just like the ones that are supposed to be there, not letting it additional,
Right. For the people just tuning in
to the goat show,
you missed the Susan Lucci reference. Now.
And we're talking about goats. It's gone completely off the rails.
Oh boy,
man! All right, which thing?
We'll get it back on track. So obviously, Willow won the Owen last night, but also she has her eyes on the ROH Women's Championship, which they kind of hinted at on the Collision episode where their match was supposed to happen, but Willow was injured. Willow was injured, and so they postponed the match a few days. They kind of hinted that maybe she was going to get another shot at the title. Well, then, so Friday on Rampage, her and Athena had a fantastic match. They main evented Rampage. So now Athena has this year, she has main evented Dark, 4 episodes of ROH, and now Rampage. She's the only woman to have done any of that. And before Friday night, she had not lost since Grand Slam last year. It was a 4-way match for the interim women's title. Tony was the interim champion at the time. It was Tony versus Athena versus Serena Deeb versus Britt, I believe. That is the last match Athena has lost. Insane.
You wrote that great article this week. Make sure that you retweet that from our Powerbombshells.
Yes, I did. I will definitely tweet that again.
And I like that it even got some play from some of our pals. We'll have to get Lyric on here sometime.
Yeah, we do need to get Lyric on here. I keep thinking about that. She's
great. She's like, we would have fun.
Yeah, we definitely need to get her on here.
I even saw her talking about it a little bit. And
I appreciated her.
And that was a really good article. And I think it's like, there's an argument to me. You're right. She's like one of the best out there right now. She is one of the most reliable. She's 30-0.
Yes, her streak is, even though she lost on Friday, her streak is still intact because it was not an ROH sanctioned match. But on Thursday night, she did get her 30th win. She won in like 2.5 minutes. But I guess you could make the argument that Athena should be beating indie talent in 2.5 minutes.
I mean, at this point.
Yeah, I guess. Kind of like the stuff with Jade. Like Jade,
I get what they're doing there.
Yeah, Jade because Jade was doing that towards the end of her run too. She was
Yeah.
just running through
Squashing people, randos.
And that's why she was like, I have no competition. And they, they obviously they did this, not the, I was gonna say not, they did the swerve with Chris Statlander, but it wasn't really a swerve because we could all kind of see that coming. But that's what her thing was. She was like, there's nobody to challenge me, and I've beaten everybody. So it's kind of Athena's like, so of course she's just like running through people now. And but they had that really great match, and then I saw a lot of people and they were like, I'm with Sam, she should be main eventing Death Before Dishonor. I'm like, thank you for coming to for listening to my TED talk that I have been.
That was the best part.
But I'm glad people are seeing what Athena's doing, and she's doing incredible stuff. And so after the match, there was they showed it on Twitter. That's how I saw it when I was working on that article. So they're interviewing Willow, talking about, congratulations, you're going to the finals and all this stuff. Well, Athena was livid that she lost the match, and she's screaming at Willow and all this stuff. Security's trying to hold her back. She hits security in the face, which is what she's been doing in ROH. She's been hitting security in the face, and like nobody can control her. Well, Willow just socks her, like literally, like just knocks her out. She falls into the security's arm. Like, it was a great moment. Like, I love Athena, but that was just Willow just hitting her like that was perfect. And so and she picks up the title, and she said something just like, first the Owen and then maybe this. So it sounds like that's gonna be our match. It should have been the main event all along, but now there is a better chance, I guess I should say, that they will main event, because the original main event, as we talked about last week, is Mark Briscoe versus Claudio Castagnoli, in a very, I like the story, like, it's fine, but it was very rushed. Like, literally, Mark Briscoe wrestled a match. They showed a promo of Eddie talking to Mark Briscoe about why he should challenge Claudio for his title. Cut back to Mark. Mark is like, Eddie makes great points. Always been for the TV title, but I want to follow my brother's footsteps. Claudio comes up and was like, never listen to Eddie Kingston. You're not ready for this. Okay, we're going to have a title. And now it's the main event. Like, literally, it was like a 10-minute segment.
Wow.
Like, the segment, it's fine for the way they built it, but not to build your main event. Not when Claudio has not been there very much,
right?
Because he's either an AEW, or part of it was when they did the last set of ROH tapings in Orlando. He was in Japan, so he wasn't on those shows. So Athena is the one who is there week in and week out. When she doesn't have matches, she's cutting promos. She is moving her story along. She is finding her next competitor. Athena is the star of ROH, period. Like, there's no debate about that. She should be in the main event. Like, she is the story. There's been 20 episodes and she's been their biggest story. She's I would say the bigger than Claudio and Eddie, what they were doing. And then maybe the timing got off a little bit, because Eddie had to have surgery. Then Claudio was gone to Japan. Now Eddie's in Japan. Claudio's clearly busy with Blackpool Combat Club stuff. He's actually in Rome this weekend, because he posted a picture yesterday outside of one of the Coliseums talking about how he wanted to go to where it's all started, or something like that. And then and also John Moxley competed in some jiu-jitsu tournament yesterday and won in his division. It was his first ever tournament. Like, I don't know what. And then I guess Yuta is hiking somewhere. I don't know what. I don't know what Yuta's doing.
Wasn't Darby Allin gonna go summit Everest sometime soon?
He is supposed to be doing that at some point. I don't know. Don't know when that's supposed to happen, but yeah. So unfortunately, like, I hate that Mark Briscoe is hurt. It sounds so. Yeah. So Mark Briscoe, it was announced during ROH via Twitter that Mark Briscoe is injured and the match is off. Fightful is reporting that the knee injury he's gonna need surgery, so they're putting that match on hold indefinitely. Claudio was on sabbatical, preparing for Blood and Guts, and then turns out he is in Rome. It's he tweeted the picture and he's outside of a Coliseum. So, but he's on sabbatical. And then it said his opponent would be addressed this week, which is the day before the pay-per-view.
Of course.
So we don't know who Claudio's wrestling. I've been trying to figure out.
You should just make Athena and
just
make her to make that the main event. I think people would be excited for that.
I think so too. And it would be the first pay-per-view that has been main evented by a woman in AEW or ROH. They have main evented Battle of the Belts, but that's not a pay-per-view. That's a special quarterly show.
This is a good time for it. So, she's really talented. I'm so glad to hear that she's back like in the spotlight because I still love Ember Moon. I thought that she was so talented. Like I looked forward to seeing her. I'm glad that she's like now then she can do this because she can define herself and be the be the wrestler she is and not, but like that's, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. And then so Athena, I have seen the biggest confusion is, or the biggest concern rather, with them doing this match is, do you have Athena lose twice in a row and lose her in her incredible streak? Or do you have Willow lose yet another title shot? She has wrestled way back on episode 2. Athena and Willow wrestled for the ROH Women's Championship. Athena retained. She has not been able. Willow has wrestled for the AEW Women's Championship, has come up short. TBS Championship multiple times. She wrestled Jade like 3 times.
Yeah.
She did. I mean, obviously, she did have the New Japan Strong Championship, but in AEW and ROH, she's never won a title. So, what do you do? Do you continue Athena's streak and maybe wait for somebody? If Jordynne Grace is coming in again, this is all speculation on our part. We have not heard one way or another. It just makes, from the way they've talked about it, about nobody being able to beat her and nobody in AEW and ROH have been able to beat her. It sounds to me like that's probably what they're doing. I could be just reading into what Ian said and just hoping that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So do you have Athena retain and wait? Does Jordynne Grace show up at the end of Death Before Dishonor? Like, does she do that? So it's kind of, and then, but do you have Willow do that again? Like, what do you do if Willow loses yet another title shot? And you've got to keep Willow, in the forefront after everything that she has done. She has gotten herself over even more in the since Resurgence. Like, she was already, like, fans already loved her, but I think since Resurgence, she's just been on another level and fans really love her. And you have to keep her in the forefront of the women's division. But then on the other hand, like, you're building the ROH women's division and Athena is your cornerstone, like, and you're building the division around her. So even if she drops the title, like, I do want to see her on AEW television. I think she deserves, especially if you're letting Claudio and Samoa Joe and the Lucha Brothers be on AEW television, then you can put Athena there too. But Athena has been the cornerstone, and I feel like you should, even if she doesn't have the title, you build the championship, or I mean, the women's division around her is what I would do. But so I don't know I can't tell what they're going to do, but I hope they main event. And then this morning, like after, I don't know, it was like 1:00 this morning, ROH sends out a tweet from a press conference that was not a real press conference, but a press conference nonetheless.
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe press conference where Ian, was it Ian? Yes. Ian was like, here is our chairman, Tony Khan. And so you have like Jerry Lynn is there, and so is Stokely. They're both the board of directors. And then it's Shibata and Daniel Garcia, and they just randomly announced that this is going to be the match for the Pure title.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. They were just like, it was, so they took questions from 2 reporters, one for each wrestler. It was funny because like, they're like, we'll take a question. And he's like, you right there. And so obviously in a normal media scrum, you say your name, who you represent.
Right.
Person just, they're showing people obviously from the back, so you can't see their faces. And he asks Shibata, which was a very weird question because I think we all know the answer, but he said, he asked Shibata, is this the toughest competitor you ever faced? And that is nothing against Daniel Garcia. but it was just a very odd question. So Shibata's translator asks him, tells him what the question is, and Shibata says in English, "I don't like his dancing." And that offended Daniel Garcia, as you can imagine. So Daniel is like, "Well, I'm not a wrestler. I'm a sports entertainer. I don't wrestle." And was like, I don't know. It was really funny. And so then they stand up. They stand up and they're like they're standing face to face, and like Shibata's in a white t-shirt and Daniel Garcia's in a white tank top. And it just I was like, oh, this is super professional. Yeah, it was just really weird the way they did it. And so, I mean, it makes sense, obviously, because they were just in the 4-way at Forbidden Door, Forbidden Door, and then there was the Dynamite stuff leading out to it. But yeah, it was just a very weird way to set up the match. I was like, I mean, I guess they're trying different things to see what works and what doesn't. They've got to make, like, this pay-per-view was Friday and the main event is now not happening. We're hoping Athena versus Willow is not official. Like, there's no tag match. They are not doing my free idea of Punk versus Samoa Joe for the TV title. They did not take my advice. And they had a match they did a thing on Thursday. They did a quick little tournament, and the winners were Shane Taylor and Dalton Castle, and they will wrestle this Thursday, and the winner of that match will face Samoa Joe then the following night. Yes. Okay. It's very weird and thrown together. I mean, it
seems like Tony's stretched a little thin right now, if that's the way that's shaking out.
Yeah, because so there have been, the last few weeks, there have been a ton of comments about how ROH has turned into dark. First of all, it's not a bad thing. Not necessarily. Like, I watch a lot of dark, and I do like indie talent getting shots, and that's where people were. I mean, that's where the Acclaimed came from. That's where Red Velvet came from. Britt patted her record down there to get the number 1 contender shot. There's been Willow wrestle down there a lot. Like, there's a lot that happened over there, for as much as people like to shit on it. A lot of good stuff came out of it.
Most of that has to do with people not wanting to consume a YouTube show versus a TV show. Sure. And that's
I get it.
That's generational weird.
But ROH, they did start off very hot. It has fizzled out some. Like, I will give them that. There are some things that are just not as interesting, and it is, in some cases, it is just matches. They don't really seem to be building storylines outside of Athena, and maybe some stuff with Mark Briscoe. But then also, I guess that kind of goes back to the argument, because it was supposed to be they were going to keep ROH and AEW separate. Well, they aren't doing that, because everybody but Athena is, other than, the Willow. I mean, the Willow, the Owen, they're all over the place. Like, and then you have AEW wrestlers coming into ROH, which I don't have a problem with. But if you're going to say we're going to keep them separate, then you've got to keep them separate. You've got to do something about that. And I do think part of it is because obviously Collision is the focus, and Collision reminds me of the beginning of ROH. It was very exciting. They were having all of these things, and then I think part of it, I don't know if it's because they're not in Orlando anymore. They're taping the shows before Collision. They've been in Canada, like, if they're just trying to get their footing, like trying to do all of these shows. And so maybe now that they have finished their shows in Canada and they're coming back to the States, maybe they'll figure it out a little bit. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of different things going on, and there are some issues. I think that they can be corrected, but they've got to be corrected soon. But yeah, it just seems like he definitely has got to delegate some stuff, for sure.
That just seems like, I mean, you've got a whole pay-per-view coming in a week, and you have and somebody got injured, and you have nothing on your pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, what are you selling? Right. It's a week out.
Right now, the only, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, the only 2 official matches are the TV championship, which we don't even know. Obviously, we don't know yet who Samoa Joe is wrestling.
Whoever wins that
match. So we know that is happening, and now we know for sure the Pure championship. There's no tag match right now. So as of right now, the Lucha Brothers they're not on this pay-per-view so far. Like we have, and they've not really been doing. I'm sure there's going to be some 6-man. They have been doing some stuff. ROH has been outside of Athena. They have been doing a lot with the 6-man titles, which is the Embassy have those titles. And they've been doing some stuff with Shane Taylor and the Workhorsemen, but Shane Taylor is in this TV title match now, or potentially could be in this TV title match. So I guess, they're not competing for it. They'll probably do, like, there's the Kingdom. They've been doing the story with the Righteous and how they've been trying to keep Stu from going back to Dark Order. Evil Uno show up, so I'm sure that's going to be a match, but like there's just nothing that's official really outside of those two matches, and the pay-per-view is Friday. And I know there's always complaints about how Tony books pay-per-views, but generally his pay-per-views are booked a little bit better than these.
Like you see where it's going at least.
Right. Yeah, like I have no idea what they're doing with the tag, because I mean they've had so the Kingdom have been wrestling a lot, but they've been wrestling mostly Darius Martin and actually Andretti, which they've been great. But they're but the Lucha Brothers have been on there I think one time in the last few episodes. They were in that really great, but it wasn't even a tag match. It was that really great match. It was them and Vikingo and Commander versus Workhorsemen, Shane Taylor, and Gringo Loco. That's the last time that they've been on ROH. And so they're not even really building. It's just, they are not helping their argument that they are turning into dark when they're not.
Right.
When they're kind of just all over the place. So they've got to get stuff figured out. And I was like, and the summer is only going to get crazier because All In is coming, All Out, Grand Slam. Granted, there's not an ROH pay-per-view. Unless I'm mistaken, this is the last pay-per-view until Final Battle. I think ROH has only been doing 3 pay-per-views. So they've got some breathing room there, but they've still got to tell these stories, or I don't know what we're doing. So, and I have no idea who they're going to put against Claudio. I was looking at that roster, and I'm like, who the hell are they going to put in there? Because I was like, can't do Shane Taylor, can't do Dalton Castle, unless they do the loser of that match, because obviously the winner faces the TV champion, unless the loser faces Claudio. So maybe Shane Taylor wins, and it's Shane Taylor versus Joe, and then maybe it's Dalton versus Claudio. Which doesn't. Okay. So you lose the tournament, but here's a title match. I don't know what I can't. Maybe they're bringing in somebody from AEW to face him. I don't know what they're doing. So
I do not know what they're doing either.
And I watch every week.
I know, right?
I don't know what's happening. So hopefully ROH has good stuff. They have a really great foundation, and I really hope they figure it out. Nikki said the loser is really in the winner in that case. Yeah. If you lose a shot at the TV title, but then get put in a match for the world championship, you're the winner in that case. That's weird. It's fair. I don't know if that's what they're doing. I can't figure out who is going to face Claudio, because because Zach is busy. He's in a tournament. There's a lot of people in G1, so I don't know. I assume they'll just bring somebody in from AEW. That's the only thing that I can think of that they do. I really don't know what they're doing. Maybe they bring in Coda. Maybe they go. Maybe it's Coda versus Claudio. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going to happen there. And then there was something else I was going to say about this pay-per-view, about what's happening. I did see last night at the tapings, they brought in Utami Hayashishita, and she wrestled Trish Adora. And that match,
okay, cool.
That match is going to be phenomenal. So I'm really excited for that. When we get that, I assume that'll be on this week's show. I don't know if I'm hoping they keep Otami around for a little bit and she gets to wrestle some more matches. I know she's been training with Natty. With Natalia, does her and TJ do training at their basically their dojo, and they train with people who wrestle outside of WWE. They train all kinds of people. But I know that she has tweeted a few times that she's been down there, and I saw she tweeted a picture today with Maki Ito, and Maki said something like the real forbidden door.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so ROH does have a lot of good things going for it. They just need some planning, and they need some direction, and
that's just crazy to me. I mean, just hearing that from you from the outside,
they got to delegate some stuff. They have their work cut out for them, but if they get on it now, I think they can get back on track. But they've got to start doing something, because they are not. They're not beating
crazy. That's just like, I mean, it's like, I didn't realize the pay-per-view was so like sparse.
Yep. It is. Brad said
non-existent.
Said, I think Ibushi gets the pin on Claudio at Blood and Guts. Setting up Ibushi versus Claudio at the ROH pay-per-view for the title would be a huge match. And I didn't even see Brad's comment when I said that maybe it's Ibushi. So that would make perfect sense. That's how you can get to it. You can get to that.
Smart. And that's a big draw.
It is a big draw that will definitely sell some.
I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be. Kota Ibushi coming back around wrestling has got to be a big deal for everyone right now. So.
And I think that would sell some pay-per-views for sure.
Definitely.
Dasa asked, did someone at the fake presser yell, "Put that cigarette out"? Unfortunately, no, they did not, Dasa. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
Missed opportunities.
Yes, definitely. So I think we've covered most stuff. G1, like you said, I haven't watched anything. You haven't watched anything.
Yeah, no, tomorrow is my day of catching up to the G1 stuff. Because
I may get to some things tonight. But we, Nikki and I are, we've had plenty of time to watch the first Avatar, but we just never got around to it. And our mom wants to watch the second one with us. And we're like, we haven't seen, she loved the first one. And she was like, you need to, I want to watch the second one with you. And I was like, we haven't seen the first one. So last night, since we couldn't get Triple Mania, we got halfway through the first one. And then, because we started it so late. And so I think we're going to try to finish the second half.
They're not short.
So, no, they're not. The new one's even longer. The first one was 2 hours and 42 minutes. And I think the third one is like 3 hours and
it's long
something. So
it's very long.
But I was like, we need to watch it before we like really get immersed into G1. So I was like, so we may get
the first one is fine. It's really good. Like, it's a great idea. I mean,
I've enjoyed it.
It's not like some like groundbreaking storytelling is what.
Right.
It's not really about. It's really a kind of a very simple storyline. It's all about the visuals.
It's basically humans.
It's a vehicle for them to show off their. Yeah, I mean, it's a vehicle for them to show off their special effects stuff. Yeah, really, but
whatever.
It's fine. It's pretty.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far, but we were getting like where we stopped it, we could tell like something big was getting ready. We're like, we're gonna
whatever you think is gonna happen is pretty much gonna happen.
Yeah, so we were just like, yeah, because we got to the part where he had been like accepted into their, and we were like, yeah, something big's about to happen. Let's just stop it here because we know he's gonna get found out soon. So we're just gonna.
That's smart.
We'll just cut it off here.
We'll cut it off here because we know the good stuff.
And so our mom
mark it, and then we'll come back.
She's like, she knows that we watch all this type of wrestling, and she's like, and we're trying to explain to her like, there's a lot of wrestling this weekend. She's like, okay, but Avatar. So we were like, fine. And so,
all right, you only get. I mean, you gotta take care of your mom.
We do.
I mean, if she wants to watch it with you guys that bad, that's not.
Yeah,
the worst
we do. We're trying to make it happen.
It is pretty. They're both pretty.
They are. Well, the first one is so far. Grace said dances with Smurfs.
Yeah, that was the old.
And Daza said 2 of the biggest movies ever, and yet everyone looks down on them. I've enjoyed what I've seen so far.
Pretty, they're beautiful. They're just very simplistic and not like.
But sometimes that's all you need is a simplistic story.
Of what they are meant to be visually. They are visually. Exactly. They're visual films, not like, I don't know. If you need your noir or your whatever, your horror or whatever, there's plenty of that out there too. It's right. I mean, it's worth watching in that way that like it's culturally relevant and it's visually pretty. It is. They are.
Well, and they're trying to get us. They're trying to get across, a specific message and then showing off, like you said, their visual effects and things like that. But it's a story that's been out there for a long time, and it's obviously a story that needs to be told still because capitalism.
Well, it's good for normies. If this is what it takes for normies to understand saving the planet, then that's fine with me. I'm totally fine with that.
Oh, that's interesting. Grace said the first one was way better. Interesting.
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with that.
I will report back.
I was stronger.
I will report back when I've seen them both and see if I concur with that statement.
That's a good idea.
But before we get out of here, there's two. There's a couple things. So one is wait, hold on. We have one more Avatar comment. They're nice, average movies.
Yeah, they're very
fair enough. Fair enough.
You'll like it. You guys will have fun with it, and it'll be with your mom, which is awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, we've gotten halfway through the first one, and it's been I've enjoyed it. Like I knew, it's predictable.
Yeah, it's good. It's fine. It's totally.
It's predictable, but it's
totally watchable. It's not like
I've enjoyed it.
I like, oh my god, I'll never get that time back. It's not that kind of thing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, not at all. So. And so that's why if it hadn't been so late when we started it, I would have just finished it. Yeah, we didn't cut it off because we weren't enjoying it. It was
smart.
Okay. Daza says, before you go, the character of Lieutenant Ortegas on Star Trek Brave New World reminds me of you, Mel.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I have not seen it. I haven't seen any of the new Star Treks because they're behind paywalls that I don't want to pay for. So.
Hey, understandable.
I already have enough subscriptions to things. So
he says, which is a good thing because she's awesome.
Oh,
so
okay.
There you go.
Well, I'll take this as a compliment. I used to get to Paul a lot. From people because of the haircut,
right?
And the way that I liked it. So I used to get a lot of people. I had a friend who said that, and it was like, oh my gosh, I can't get it out of my head now. So I love Star Trek. I love that universe. That's my. I'm very much about the Roddenberry utopia. I like his version, so I'm good with it.
I love you go. See. There you go.
So thank you.
Very nice.
I appreciate it.
I'll say it sounds like a very nice compliment to me.
Thank you. Very nice.
But before we wrap up, so we got two quick things. One is obviously make sure that if you are a non-subscriber, to go to the Patreon for Fight Game Media, because in the month of July they're doing one free show every week. I believe they're going out on Mondays. That when they are making them, or Sundays? We'll tweet. Make sure you follow Fight Game Media on Twitter because they will tell you
Fight Game Media
when the free shows are out. And then, of course, on the Powerbombshells Twitter, we are retweeting it. So you'll know what shows are free and what you can go check out. And then, of course, make sure that you're subscribed to our channel because as of right now, we are the only full live show on a weekly basis. We do have shows that are here and there, like the Fight Game Media Extra show.
Salty Scott just did an unwrapping of his, he's doing some unboxings of a wrestling.
Yeah, there's some new shows that are coming Fight Game Media's way, it sounds like, and so we're just kind of in the process of figuring that out,
moving everything around,
moving things around, getting people's schedules coordinated and all of that. But as of right now, it's just me and Mel who are live streaming every single
livest
week.
People.
Right, so please make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is a huge help to us, and yes, the annoying like, subscribe, comment,
please.
that you hear all the influencers doing. It actually does help us.
It does. We legitimately does help us.
Just like, the algorithm is everywhere. It helps us. You guys who we love talking to you, and your comments definitely help push us out in the algorithm as well. So your support means so much to us.
Thanks. I mean, all you guys, Brad and Daza and Nikki and Gray, and you guys all just always, if I'm missing people, I apologize, but you guys are always here for us and we really appreciate it. It's super cool.
We do. And we love talking to you and getting your feedback on stuff. And then, hearing what you think about things,
and also keeping us straight on which matches are.
Filling us in, making sure we have shows correct and wrestlers correct and all that good stuff. So we appreciate that. And then I don't want to end this on us. I guess I should have started with this and then the other one.
I don't think. See, I
don't really,
because it's, in a way, it's good.
Yeah, so I don't want to end this on like a super sad note, but I did want to give an update on referee Kevin Pierce. He is battling stage 4 colorectal cancer. He has been doing okay. I think I gave an update a couple of weeks ago. He did have surgery. I think when I announced that he was getting ready to have surgery, the following day. So back on July 3rd, he had 3 tumors removed from his liver. His fiance Josie said yesterday that she gave an update that he is doing better. It's been a tough road for him, obviously, following surgery. And they're meeting with the oncologist this week to kind of see where things are out and find out what the next steps are. But even though all of that is very positive, they are struggling financially. Josie is the single income right now. She has had to take some unpaid days off, obviously, to be with Kevin and to help him through his surgery and things like that. They are having a really hard. They have fallen behind on their rent due to this, and so we do not want them to be evicted while he is trying to deal with cancer on top of that. So yesterday they were $850 short, or that's what they needed. As of this morning, Josie said they only needed $325. Because they do have a GoFundMe, but obviously they can't access that immediately, and they have an immediate need. So they do have a Cash App and Venmo, which I did post to my Twitter yesterday. I also posted it to the Powerbombshells Twitter. If you can spare even $1, $5, it all adds up. We definitely don't want them to be, we don't want them to lose their home.
Cash App are a really good way to help people out. One of my best friends' fathers passed away, and helped them out a lot. And it's really quick and easy.
Yeah, it's quick and easy. It goes directly to them. I can vouch for Pierce and Josie. They're wonderful people. I hope the wrestling community, and what the wrestling community has so far, they've come through for them, and they've helped. They're up over half of what they need, which is incredible. And since yesterday,
just tweet all that stuff and put it out on all our socials.
If you can. A few people did donate to their GoFundMe yesterday, which also, that's a huge help because they will need access to that at some point. I'm hoping also, if you happen to know it, she said that she tried to get housing assistance and did not get it. I don't know if they just didn't get it in time or if they were not approved for some reason. She didn't go into detail. So if you guys are aware of anybody who, any organizations that help adult cancer patients, particularly in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, please message me or tweet me if you've got any leads. That would be super helpful, because I'm hoping that get this one taken care of, but that doesn't mean that this issue is not going to come up again, especially I know it's the middle of summer, but the holidays, will be here sooner rather than later. And, this could be an issue that comes up again for them throughout him dealing with this. And so I'm hoping, so maybe there's an organization that can help them out and help them so that this does not keep happening to them, because they've had some other life things happen on top of all of this. And so they have just had a really hard time. So if you're able to, spare $1 or $5 or whatever, that would be a huge help. And if you're able to, obviously don't feel obligated to. But and again, if you happen to know of any organizations or anything like that might be able to help them,
if you know of a nonprofit organization that they might be unaware of because it's not something that's on the main register. Oftentimes you can find that stuff if anybody does know about that. You said in the Greensboro, North Carolina areas
in particular, but just in general,
if it could be the state. It could be state.
Yeah,
who cares?
It doesn't matter if you just happen to have a lead. That's something that could potentially help them. I would love
there might be a mutual aid organization out there that someone knows about, because we have a lot of people that are awesome.
So, if you happen to know anything like that, please just shoot me a message or just tag me on Twitter or something and just be like, hey, check this out, or tell your friend to check this out. That would be super helpful, because I hope they don't have to deal with this again, because it is harder, not to say harder. There are a lot of organizations out there for pediatric cancer, which definitely should be, but it seems like with adult cancer, it seems like sometimes it's harder, or just adult diseases in general.
And in general, I believe that I would say that, unfortunately, because of the nature of our medical system, it is not set up to help adults
to
heal properly,
exactly
in a organized fashion.
Right.
And trying to be
right. Well, and then she is, like I said, it's down to a single income now because Pierce, he did have, outside of being a referee, he did have a day job. He's obviously not able to do either of those, so it's fallen on her, and then she's struggling, and then like I said, she's had to take some time off work to be with him, and she was not paid for that, and so that, unfortunately, that stuff adds up, and things can happen, and especially with the way our healthcare system and capitalism,
exactly,
can cause some issues. So again, if you're able to support, that would be great. And if, again, don't feel obligated, but I just wanted to mention it to see if there's any type of way that we could help them out. And again, so I appreciate you guys listening, and I just wanted to give that quick update, so fingers crossed that when he meets with the oncologist this week, they get some really positive news now that he's had the tumors removed, so hopefully he gets some really good news this week.
And that's the thing, though, is like, if he's healing and he's doing well and he's progressing, then we want to make sure and try and
I don't want him to have to be stressing out about where if he's going to lose his home.
That's it's tough enough.
Yeah,
so.
It is, exactly. So hopefully they get some good news, and just send them some positive vibes, because they definitely need them. And I'll keep you guys updated, and hopefully we'll have an update, not just on their housing situation, but whatever the oncologist says, and can get you an update on how that is progressing. And then we have some lovely little comments that said, Grace says, you guys are awesome. Daza said, it's a pleasure to support you. Brad says to buy Nikki's art. Nikki does have art for sale.
Thank you, Brad. That's a lovely sentiment. I agree. Nikki's art's pretty cool.
Yeah, Brad was kind enough to buy a couple of pieces from her this week, which is great, because she's recovering from back surgery and definitely needs the support for those who can help, and also just because so she can make room for new art, so that when she's back recovering and can start doing art again, she's got some surplus inventory. So she's gotta have some place for the new art to go. So, but again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for your continued support of Fight Game Media and of us, and we will be back next week.
So
for episode 75.
Oh my gosh. We turned 75.
We do turn 75.
Holy crap. All right, I'm ending this broadcast before my mind gets blown. Thanks, guys.